Hey there, XRP family, welcome back to the channel. It's incredible to have you here with me once again. I hope you're crushing it today, no matter where you are in this amazing world of ours. Today, we need to talk about something absolutely mind-blowing that's happening with XRP right now. And I have to kick things off with this incredible insight from Vincent Van Code that honestly just blew my mind. Here's what he's saying, and trust me, this is huge. In just a couple of years, you won't be able to buy native XRP directly anymore. Think about that for a second. The only way to get exposure will be through ETFs or maybe some other investment vehicles, or through market maker style holdings with your bank. Only the big players, the major custodians, banks, and fund managers will actually hold the real XRP tokens. And here's the kicker. If there was ever a time to remind you that you might not fully understand what you're holding, this is it. This isn't some maximalist fantasy. This is a carefully orchestrated 15-year plan that's set to wrap up by 2030. I completely agree with Vincent on this one. Here's what I think is going to happen, and it might shock you. A lot of people are going to sell their XRP thinking they can always buy back in later. But one day, they're going to wake up and realize the only way to get exposure is through an accredited investor program or an ETF. Regular retail investors like you and me will be completely locked out long before 2030. Most people will have already sold by then. But here's the crazy part. Demand will keep skyrocketing while scarcity kicks in hard. ETF buyers will be gobbling up XRP the entire time, and people will be fighting over tiny fractions of XRP on exchanges. You know what? I think we all looked at these ETFs completely wrong. I know I did. I was expecting them to pump XRP's price immediately. But what's actually happening is way more strategic. These institutions are quietly accumulating XRP while it's still cheap. Then later, boom, that's when the real price explosion happens. But even when we start seeing that breakout, watch what happens. People are going to panic sell their entire bags. $10 is going to be one of the biggest psychological barriers where people dump everything. It's been this magical number in the XRP community for so long that when we hit it, emotions are going to take over. Some folks will try to hold out longer, but most will be long gone before we even touch 3 digits. Speaking of ETFs, let me hit you with some incredible numbers. Day 5 of the XRP ETF just crushed it. Over $26.5 million in trading volume and $13 million in net inflows. As long as we keep seeing those inflows, they're literally taking XRP out of circulation. It's basic supply and demand, and it's beautiful to watch. Oh, and I meant to mention this earlier, the SEC just approved Bitwise's Form 8A, which clears the path for their spot XRP ETF to launch on. NYSE Arca today, November 20th. This is another massive milestone for institutional XRP adoption. Now we get to track exactly what Bitwise does, how much XRP are they buying, how big are their inflows going to be. But here's what I'm really excited about. We're still waiting for the big daddy next week, Franklin Templeton. I'm calling it right now. That ETF alone is going to do $1 billion in volume and beyond. The demand is already there, everyone knows it, and that's exactly why all these ETF filings happened in the first place. Now, I saw this headline that made me chuckle. XRP investors' holdings have hit worse losses in 1 year. The stats show that most XRP holders are currently at a loss because they bought at higher prices. A lot of people jumped in above $3. But here's the thing, and listen carefully. It doesn't matter when you bought your XRP. Not one bit. Because once this breakout truly begins, do you think it's going to matter that the market crashed here and there? Absolutely not. What's coming next is pure euphoria and excitement. People won't be able to put their phones down because they'll be watching their portfolios grow all day long. And trust me, that time is absolutely coming. Now, here's something that's going to blow your mind. Vincent quoted 2030 inches' post, but we're actually expecting to see major scarcity within just 1 year. Think about that for a second. It could happen even sooner. There's so much XRP that belongs to other escrows out there that I talked about in a recent video. There's massive amounts of XRP that aren't even counted in the circulating supply. In my opinion, a lot of that XRP is already accounted for. It's effectively already been taken out of circulation. This next insight comes from Bill Quack, and it's absolutely brilliant. He says, RLUSD will bring the world onto XRP rails. What have I been telling you? RLUSD is designed to get people comfortable with using crypto, and then boom, they start using XRP. Here's how he breaks down what he calls the vampire attack. Step 1, launch RLUSD on Ethereum. Step 2, get institutions using and integrating it. Step 3, show them how much faster and cheaper the XRP ledger is. Step 4, flip them onto XRP rails. Congratulations, you've just executed a multi-billion-dollar vampire attack on Ethereum. This is 4D chess at its finest. He's talking about RLUSD running on XRP rails. Just wait until they start talking to banks about XRP instead of just RLUSD. I've always looked at RLUSD like a gateway drug to XRP. It's the perfect entry point. But here's something that's going to shift your entire perspective. Everyone's measuring XRP in today's dollars. But when XRP hits $1,000, will the dollar even matter? Stop thinking in fiat and start thinking in protocol value. I've always said that at some point in the future, we're going to measure XRP's value by what XRP can actually buy you. Want a new house? Maybe it costs you 100 XRP. Want a new car? Maybe 10 or 20 XRP. Think about how crazy this is. Everybody's so quick to want to sell into dollars. You're literally selling your XRP for an inferior currency. You're holding the world's bridge currency, and you want to sell it for a currency that loses value every single day. That's exactly what you're doing when you sell into US dollars, and now with passive income options coming for crypto, why would anybody even want to sell? I'm telling you, in the future, you're going to have to wait until somebody actually sells their XRP just to buy a little bit of it. You can already see the institutional demand for this asset. While there's widespread panic in the crypto market, Citi CEO Jane Fraser says her clients want to move money around the world instantaneously.
Tell us why you're so excited about tokenized deposits and why maybe that is a better solution than stablecoin.
Yeah, on the payment space. Look, it comes back to what does a client need? So a client wants to move money around the world instantaneously, 24/7, 365 days a year, safely and without hassle and complexity. And that's what tokenization does. Tokenization digitizes entire markets. And we've been working in really making sure that we can serve that use case from the clients. We've been adding new markets for being able to move money instantaneously 24/7. So we just announced that we're adding another currency on. We're adding euro on today, in addition to dollar and sterling and Hong Kong and Sing dollar. We've got 24/7 clearing attached to our digital token services capability. That's added 270 banks that we can move money. So it's not just within the Citi system, but it's also to other banks that we can move instantaneously 24/7 without complexity. So I'm really excited about the movement that you can see in payments. I think tokenization best serves the client's use case.
Did you hear how many times she said 24/7s? They know that's what everybody wants. Nobody wants slow transactions anymore. Nobody wants to pay high fees anymore. Everybody wants fast, cheap, and secure. And they all know it. That's exactly what Ripple built. That's what XRP is designed to do. It's built to move money, move value, anything of value, very fast and very cheap. But it also works like a trust layer between two currencies. Plus, tokenization hasn't even really gotten started yet. With the regulations coming and the tokenization boom on the horizon, do you honestly think XRP is going to stay cheap? I think the reason the price is still low right now is because these ETF filers, Franklin Templeton and others, they want to continue stacking cheap XRP. Later, they'll let it breathe, and it's going to be absolutely incredible when that happens. Think about it. Why would they want to buy expensive XRP? They want to get it as cheap as they possibly can while they still can. But you can only hold XRP back for so long. Here's something that gave me chills. XRP is showing the same movements as Bitcoin did in 2016. The chart analysis shows XRP is doing exactly what Bitcoin did back then, sleeping while everyone calls it dead. Then one day you wake up and it's 25x or more. You look at the chart for XRP right now, and it is absolutely screaming that a breakout is coming. I'm telling you, that breakout is going to happen lightning fast. Everybody thinks they're going to sell XRP at this price and magically buy back in at cheaper prices. Sometimes that strategy works in your favor, but most of the time, XRP goes in the complete opposite direction. That breakout can literally start at any moment. People think we have to wait for this event and that event, but here's the reality. XRP waits for no one. When it starts to break out, it just breaks out. The chart is telling you something massive is about to happen. This insight comes from Mr. Man, and he says, you are not bullish enough. A few hours after the OCC drops this absolute bombshell, the Fed continued with their own announcement. How beautiful is this timing? The OCC confirms that banks have the authority to hold crypto assets as principal for paying crypto asset network fees, basically gas fees. Then the Fed drops this. Federal Reserve Board releases information regarding enhancements to bank supervision. What's happening right now is crystal clear. The Fed is preparing for banks to be holding crypto. The FDIC is getting ready to ensure digital assets held at banks. But yet, in the crypto space, other retail investors want to convince you that banks are never going to hold crypto. They're never going to utilize crypto. You know why they don't want XRP to succeed? Because if XRP succeeds, Bitcoin loses. That's what it all comes down to. The second XRP flips Bitcoin. I'm telling you right now, all belief in Bitcoin is gone forever. Money will move out of it so fast into XRP, it'll make your head spin. Michael Saylor will already be out the door, leaving retail behind. Same thing with Jack Dorsey. All these people who go on mainstream media and talk nonsense about Bitcoin adoption happening all around the world, Bitcoin replacing the US dollar, or backing the US dollar with Bitcoin, it's all complete nonsense. Bitcoin runs on a belief system that it's always going to be the number one cryptocurrency and that it's always going to go up in price. But how can it continue to go up in price? And how long will that belief system continue? We already have a cryptocurrency that was built to solve all of Bitcoin's problems. It's called XRP. Here's something fascinating. German national TV recently covered XRP and shared conditions for a run to $16. You know what's interesting? In other countries, their mainstream media actually covers XRP fairly. It's only here in the United States where they want to keep this Bitcoin narrative going because big bag holders are running their media machine. They're paying for that machine to keep pushing that narrative. In other countries, it's completely different. According to their analysis, if XRP simply doubles its current market share to 8%, it could need to trade around $12. However, if the XRP market rises 3x to 13%, the XRP price could hit $16. And they said this on television. In Germany, they're calling for a major breakout to happen with XRP. Everybody seems to see it, except crypto Twitter. Everyone on there just wants to continue spreading FUD about this cryptocurrency, hating on XRP every single day. But wait until it breaks out. I'm telling you, the haters will be gone, the FUD will disappear, excitement will take over, and we will head into absolutely euphoric times. That's what's coming, and it's coming fast. The pieces are falling into place exactly as planned, and we're witnessing history in the making. This is your moment to decide. Are you going to be part of the group that holds through the noise, or will you be looking back wishing you had? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Smash that like button if this resonated with you, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay strong, XRP family.